Welcome to the November Compost Policy Pulse, Election Edition. This month, find out what we're hearing on the outlook for the shifting sands on state and federal policy towards compost issues due to the elections, and grants and funding and PFAS. I'm Linda Norris-Waldt, Public Policy Director, and the Compost Policy Pulse is brought to you by the Legislative and Environmental Affairs Committee, as well as the Public Policy Program of the U.S. Composting Council. So the federal outlook. With President Trump being elected for a second term, we can expect changes in funding and regulatory enforcement. Trump has already tapped Lee Zeldin, a former New York member of Congress, as EPA administrator. It is expected that EPA will withdraw its intent to use CERCLA to hold contributors of PFAS contamination liable for cleanup costs, which we had feared for the last year or so would include the compost industry. While that threat may go away, another is looming with the potential promised release of the PFAS health risk assessment in the next month. Composters have been hoping that this would provide clarity in the way of numerical indicators of safe PFAS levels in soil, compost, and biosolids. Early indicators are, though, that this key info may be missing from the information being released, which many state regulators have been waiting for. It's uncertain whether the Trump administration will take up this project and provide that certainty, which means states will be left to regulate their own PFAS levels in 50 different ways. Stay tuned. Pending EPA food waste recycling and education and outreach grant. There has been a lot of questions about a $39 million grant pool announced by EPA this fall that is due next month. It's focused on food waste reduction, compost use, and collection and contamination education. The good news is that this funding came from the bipartisan infrastructure law, which is still intact, even though the elections have changed administrations. So what can you do now? So while we all wait for this to come to fruition after the inauguration, now is a good time to be sure that you are registered for the USCC's Compost Action Center. There, you can do a number of things to help composting be positioned for success in the next administration and the new 119th Congress. Number one, if you haven't yet, go on the Compost Action Center and send an email asking your member of Congress to join the Compost Caucus. We will have a special chapter state focus campaign that we are starting in December, kicking off with the states of California and Illinois. Having these members of Congress poised to hear our information as part of the caucus about the economic and climate and ecosystem benefits of compost will help us hit the ground running next year. Number two, you can add your voice to the 480 others we have asking for PFAS chemicals to be banned from consumer products, which is really the best way to deal with our PFAS problem. So we expect when the 119th Congress ramps up in January, we are going to have plenty to do. See you then.